Good morning, and thank you for joining us for another football feed with Queen City Newsfeed. I'm Cash Matlock with Queen City Newsfeed. As always, I'm joined by Rob Allen. You know him from WALT. You know him from Q101. You know him from Lamar Football. Rob, how are you this morning?
Doing great. It's another week of all football. Tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday.
And that's what we want, right? That's what we've been waiting for all year. Well, Rob, before we get started, I do want to say that, this week for a lot of people, it's a somber, heavy week. Obviously, today is 9/11.
Right. Yeah, 24 years, yeah.
Yes. Yesterday, we had some pretty serious news that really shook a lot of people. A lot of people have been talking about it online. I don't want to dive too far into that, but I do want to say that now more than ever is the time to lean on local community. It's the time for coming together as a community, and I think football brings people together.
Absolutely. If you go back, you talked about 9/11. If you go back to when that happened 24 years ago, sports was a way that people had escape from what had happened. We all go back to the first football game was actually, if you remember, the first college football game was actually here in Mississippi. It was Mississippi State and South Carolina in Starkville, and it was a very somber day. They honored all the individuals who lost their lives on 9/11, of course, the first responders. You had, George Bush throwing out the first pitch at a Yankee game. I mean, it was a strike right down the middle. So sports played a big part in the healing process of America at that time, and I think football can certainly do that right now. And like you said, local is the perfect place for folks to lean on right now. And why not head out to a game this week and kind of escape all of that and love on one another and enjoy these wonderful student athletes and what they do on any given night.
I really could not have said it better myself, Rob. I think that's perfect. And a good way, if you can't make it out, to keep up with everything is to like this post, like this page, Queen City Newsfeed, queencitynewsfeed.com. You can share and comment. Your comment may appear here on screen. We have a lovely 9/11 Never Forget graphic up right now.
Actually, I remembered a quick story about New York. I actually went to New York when I was a teenager. It was in the spring of '97.
So you got to see the towers.
I got to go up to the towers. The elevator went up, and I had a chance to walk around. Yeah. That was a very neat experience, and one that I am so thankful that I got to do, because obviously not too long after that is when the attacks happened, and it was unbelievable. You could walk up to the glass and kind of lean over and look straight down, and that was a sight. And but yeah, I'm glad we got to do that. That was in the spring of '97. But New York is a fun place, very interesting place. But yeah, that was a fun box to check on the list. I want to go back and see the memorial now, since they've done all of that. I've heard it's a pretty chilling experience. So.
It is. I got to go about 2 years ago, and I will say you'll see some sights that you'll never forget.
That's the after dark show of the football feed.
It is life changing.
I imagine so. There was this one time
right. Let's just make the whole show about what we've seen in New York.
There we go. Yeah, that like I said, that'll be the after dark show on that'll be Friday night after dark. Yeah. So.
I got you. Well, Rob, we do want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, All-Star Team Sports in Meridian. Great place to get your custom football gear. Not just football, though. All sports.
That's right.
You can get anything customized. Hats, T-shirts, whatever you need. That is the place to go for all of your, what did you call it, apparel last week? That's
apparel, yeah. If you want to get Lamar, West Lauderdale, Northeast, Meridian, Southeast, Russell Christian, I'm pretty sure Jason and them can do something special for you.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, fully customized. And also, shout out to Jason. They made my Queen City Newsfeed T-shirt.
It's lovely. I have a gray one at home. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's comfy.
Gray is a little, it's good for the summertime, because this black shirt, I'm telling you, I should not have gotten black. But maybe it'll be good for football season.
There you go.
A little colder. Okay, so, Rob, let's go ahead and let's just get it started. Let's start with high school football. What can we expect? Let's go first off, let's go over the games that we actually broadcast.
Yeah, the first game I want to talk about today, obviously, there you see the list of the three schools that we cover here at Digio Strategies. And, of course, that's Lamar, West Lauderdale, and Meridian. And really want to lead off today with West Lauderdale and Neshoba Central. And that's a big matchup. It'll be over on Q101 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. And, of course, 7 o'clock broadcast time for the kickoff. And, of course, pregame for a lot of these games will be at 6:30. It's interesting how all this kind of lines up going into this game. Neshoba has not won a game yet. West Lauderdale is 2-0, so obviously you got one team that's extremely hungry going into this one. That's Neshoba going into Collinsville tomorrow night. And these two have a very long history of playing very tough football games against one another, but obviously they're kind of trending in different directions here early in the season. But what's interesting, West Lauderdale goes to Morton last week, wins a 1-point game. Neshoba Central lost a 1-point game last week.
I did notice that.
So that's what I mean. They're trending in different directions and literally on the scoreboard as well. But, West Lauderdale went to Morton and won 28-27. Of course, Neshoba traveled over to Ray Stadium and lost to Meridian High by a 1-point decision, 31-30. But traditionally, when these two teams meet early in the season, it's always a hard-fought physical football game. And I guess the mentality is you have one team that obviously is going to be jubilant going into this one. And I imagine Neshoba, like we said, they're hungry for a win. I imagine this is going to be another one of those very physical football games between West and Neshoba Central. And I tell you what, Neshoba, they're not shy about scheduling tough early. You know, West Lauderdale, we've talked about them a lot here in the early season. They're going to be one of the favorites, obviously, to win their district and make another deep run in the postseason. But should be a good game. It'll be in Collinsville tomorrow night. Once again, I've always said the Kingdom is a very underrated atmosphere, and I think a lot of folks will really enjoy. We encourage you to head out to a game. This may be one for you to go check out at West Lauderdale tomorrow night. But for whatever reason, if you can't make the game, there you see Q101, 101.3 on the FM dial, of course.
The app?
Q101radio.com. There's lots of ways to stay plugged into the broadcast. Lee and Clint do a great job on their play call every week, and I imagine this is going to be another good one between the Rockets and the Knights tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the turnout just because of the two close games last week.
I know when I was looking at the schedule, we were lining things up for the feed this morning. I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. One team that loses by one and another team that wins by one, and they're playing each other. Yeah. So, and they happen to be two local teams. So
I kind of hope it'll be a close game because I feel like close games are sometimes the best to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And we had a lot of close ones last week. Some not so close, which we'll get into coming up. Yeah. But yeah, I think this will be another great one between Neshoba and West. They always seem to play each other early in the year, whether it's here or at Neshoba. And it's not a long drive for the Neshoba Central fans to make to West. So I imagine it's going to be a big crowd out there tomorrow night.
Yeah, I hope so. And also, speaking of big crowds, there's always a big one again. Hi, this is what their home game coming up.
I know the schedule seemed to line up very well for Meridian High here early, as they will have a lot of home games early on. And of course, the Wildcats, they pulled through last week, got a win for Chico.
For Chico, yeah, they did for Chico.
Yeah, the 1-point win against Neshoba Central last week, who we just got finished talking about. Now things get pretty tough here in Starkville. Yeah. And if you followed Meridian High football for many, many years, you know these two. This is a very sneaky good rivalry in 7A football, which was 5A, 6A. Now they're 7A. But these two teams have met for many years. I know when I was on the play call for Meridian High years ago, this was always kind of a measuring stick of where you were at early in the season. And, of course, Starkville has a rich tradition. Meridian has a rich tradition. I know Meridian, coming off that emotional win last week, Starkville has had kind of an up-and-down start to their season, which they have not scheduled any cream puffs by any stretch of the imagination. But it's something about this Meridian-Starkville game early in the year that just brings up a lot of nostalgia with a lot of local fans that follow Meridian High football. But, yeah, this will be out at Ray Stadium tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure Starkville's going to travel well down here to Meridian. And I think Meridian folks will pile in for this game as well because, I mean, coming off a win last week, there's some energy behind the program now. And that was a big win for them last week. And I feel like Chico probably pushed them over over the goal line, maybe on one of those scores there to kind of help.
That was that 1 point.
That was that 1 point, 1 point for Chico. But yeah, this will be over on 95.1 The Beat tomorrow night. Of course, our new play callers there on The Beat, Charlie Lockley and Neil Henry, do an amazing job. Just their third game working together, and just tip of the cap to them. But should be a good atmosphere out there tomorrow night on the Smurf turf, that blue turf out there at the Ray.
I do want to mention that the Citizens National Bank halftime show is actually going to feature Trey Alford. He's going to be talking to Neil Henry about community development. If you don't know Trey Alford, he is the Community Development Director for Citizens National Bank.
Fantastic.
And last week we had Virgie Palmer on. This week is going to be Trey Alford. So it should be interesting halftime information coming out.
Good deal. I love that feature. And, of course, Neil, his connections obviously with Citizens, just perfect part of halftime there with the MHS broadcast.
Oh, yeah. And I do want to mention before we move on, so I lived in Starkville for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. Those fans are different.
Starkville's a little different all the way around. I can admit that being a state guy. So.
They're loyal.
They are very loyal. So,
and that's all I'm going to say about it. And it should be, should be a good matchup.
All right, thanks there, Forrest. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And I love Starkville. I lived there for 5 years. I love them. That was not shade. That was just the truth. They're very loyal.
He's a man about the facts, folks. That's why he's with Queen City Newsfeed.
Right. Okay, so Lamar Raider.
Yeah, Lamar, another tough road trip for Lamar. They're going to take on Caledonia, and these are fun games. This is a public school taking on a private school. You don't see this a whole lot, and there always seems to be a handful of matchups in week 3 or week 4 where you see public taking on private. I love it. It's a good measuring stick to kind of see where you're going, and what's amazing, Lamar, this is their third road game in their first 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've lived on the highway so far this year broadcasting these games, but obviously
it's like the opposite of what Meridian High is.
I know. It's like, can we get some home games, please? But, and Coach Jacob Land out at Lamar said that he designed that to be this way. He wants to put his team through some tough tests early going on the road, because if you have to get into the postseason later on and go on road trips, you're already kind of trained from a mental aspect of what to expect when you go to these tough atmospheres. But Lamar wasn't a fun road trip last week. They lost 55-19 to Jackson Prep. Jackson Prep is a heck of a football team. They got a rich tradition over there. Lamar was a little outmanned in that football game, but Lamar competed as hard as they could with over 30 players to their 70-plus.
Okay, I was going to say, aren't they fairly bigger?
They are a very large school. I mean, they dressed just for 7 players. In the past, they've dressed up to 80 or 90. Yeah. And when you've got 33 that Lamar has, it becomes a numbers game most of the time. But Lamar, I will give them credit. They did compete hard in that football game with what they had to work with. Came out relatively healthy, and this will be interesting. Caledonia, they're 0-2 to start the year, so they're hungry for a win. They're going to be hosting Lamar. They are a 5A public school, so they're going to have a few more players than Lamar does. And after this week, Lamar opens district play, if you can believe that. We're already talking about conference and district starting next week, and it's Lamar's homecoming next week. Okay. Homecoming in September.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's become a trend all of a sudden. What is that about?
Do you feel like it gets closer and closer every year to like the beginning of the season?
See, when I was in school, it was always an October thing.
Right. I remember it being chilly weather, fall, like
and now they're pushing it up into September, and you always want to schedule somebody you can beat for homecoming. Right. Let's face it, you always want to beat somebody for homecoming. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of these schools are going to September for homecoming. So Lamar's got homecoming next week. Yeah. Which is odd, but all the dads will be out there escorting their daughters for homecoming in tuxes when it's 95 degrees.
I know. So. Maybe we'll get like sleeveless.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Lamar, this will be their longest road trip of the year. Caledonia is just to the, I think, northeast of Columbus, so it's a little less than a 2-hour drive. So
another comment. So I did the news in Columbus, and
Yeah.
Caledonia was very close.
Yeah.
And if a lot of people who maybe you remember Candace Barnett from
Yes.
she's from Caledonia.
Okay.
So, you know,
The Fighting Barnetts.
yeah, the Fighting Barnetts. I hope she's watching.
That's for you, Candace.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her a clip of
There you go.
but yeah, so Caledonia, another area that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
Covered the news there, and I will say, you know, great support system in that area. You can't really throw a rock without hitting, you know, a Caledonia football fan.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting test. It's the longest road trip of the year for Lamar, coming off a loss last week, and we'll see how it all shakes out tomorrow night. But yeah, OKK, 97 OKK will have the coverage of that one. We'll have a pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7, and of course the OKK app, 97okk.com, as the Raiders try to bounce back. 2-1. It's been a solid start so far, but you'd love to get a win on the road going into homecoming next week.
Hope so, and then especially next week.
Absolutely. So those are the three big games on our Digio Strategy broadcast schedule for tomorrow night.
Okay, so now let's dive into the other local games. Let me get to my page here. You can hear the pages turning on the mic.
Yeah, there's the sound of it. We do have a game tonight. You see it up there in the far left-hand corner. That is Northeast Lauderdale and Southeast Lauderdale. They are playing tonight.
Okay.
So we do have a Thursday game tonight. That game will be out at Southeast Lauderdale. Northeast Lauderdale coming off a bye week last week. They did not have a game on schedule. Southeast still trying to find their first win. But when you see two Lauderdale County teams playing each other, you know as well as I do, records don't matter.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
There's always that tension between the county
Oh,
schools,
gosh, it's
you know?
going to be a great crowd out there. It's the only game in town tonight as far as high school goes, so I imagine that's going to be a big one. So looking up and down the schedule here, just going below that one, Union and Enterprise. Then you got Choctaw Central and Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia is winless right now. Choctaw Central looking to stay undefeated. Then you got West Point going to Noxubee County. Then you got Newton County Academy playing Humphreys Academy. Russell Christian, they will be traveling to Columbus Christian. And then you got Northeast Jones taking on Newton County, Lake and Leake County, and then Wayne County taking on Northwest Rankin, Kemper Academy, and Silva Bay. And I want to say a big apology to Kemper Academy. I did not put them on the schedule last week. I just overlooked them. My apologies, but you're on there this week. We got you on there.
We did get a comment actually, and I pinned that comment to the top.
Yeah,
and they did provide us with a score. So
yeah,
we
appreciate
still had our
that.
Scoreboard.
So there you go. So there's your Fighting Clarkdale Bulldogs. They're taking on Pelahatchie.
There we go.
There
you
we
know
go.
You know who I'm rooting for.
They're undefeated, 2-0. So Clarkdale, good start. Newton and Quitman. Then you got Harrison Central and Heidelberg, Heritage Academy and Kemper County. That's a public versus private matchup. And then you got Winston Academy and Wayne Academy. And both Winston and Wayne are winless right now, so that's going to be a big matchup there between those two. So that is a full look at the local schedule. A lot of good games, and obviously the big highlight beyond our three broadcast here at Digio Strategies is that Southeast and Northeast matchup tonight.
Is that going to be the one you're mainly looking at, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
of
when
the
you have the
big
two
game of the week.
locals playing each other, it's fun.
Yeah.
So Vimville will be rocking tonight. So
yeah.
they're gonna shut down the Dollar General in Vimville tonight. They're gonna shut down the gas station at the four-way.
All right,
I'm not going to be able to run for mayor of Vinville now. I hate
they're gonna
that.
come for you at the
They're going to come for me now. So, yeah, that happens. So, but, yeah, it'll be a fun atmosphere. Southeast has got a lot of great fan support. I know they're hungry for a win. And Northeast coming off no game last week. So, how polished will they be going into it?
Maybe they might have more energy.
It may be. We'll see.
Revved up.
We'll see how it all shakes out.
Okay. Community college football, or JUCO football.
JUCO.
What I should call it.
Yeah, there's the matchups for tonight. East Mississippi, a defensive struggle win last week against Hines. They got a very good Northwest Mississippi team coming into Scuba tonight. East Central, they are winless right now. Yeah, they're 0-2 coming into the game tonight in Decatur, taking on Itawamba. And Jones down there in Ellisville, they're undefeated right now. That's probably the big game of the week right there. They got Gulf Coast coming in. Gulf Coast beat East Mississippi back in week 1 of junior college football. But Jones is undefeated right now, welcoming in a top 10 team in Mississippi Gulf Coast. And from what I understand, a lot of these junior colleges tonight are going to be doing a lot of big 9/11 tributes at a lot of the stadiums tonight. I know Jones has something very special planned. I got a good friend who works in the athletic department down there, and they're doing a very special tribute to 9/11 down in Ellisville tonight. And I imagine a lot of these other schools will do something similar tonight. So, but yeah, that's the schedule tonight. Like I said, East won that defensive struggle against Hines last week. East Central, trying to bounce back from going 0-2, and Jones looking to keep that undefeated streak alive, taking on Gulf Coast. So 3 nice matchups inside junior college football in our area tonight.
You ever been to Itawamba?
I have. ICC.
Yeah.
I've been to all the junior colleges in Mississippi.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the ones in North Mississippi are a challenge to get to, especially Mississippi Delta.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Delta is a different animal.
That's a different animal. Cahoma's a different animal. But yeah, Delta's probably my least favorite drive to make of any of the JUCOs.
Well, the thing about the Delta drive is there's nothing. So it's like a straight shot for a very long way. It can be very boring.
I remember I helped,
but it is beautiful. I'm not knocking the Delta.
I remember I had to help call a football game for University of West Alabama one time. They played at Delta State, and of course Delta State's had a long tradition of good football. Well, UWA went on the road and beat them that year. We're doing the game there at Delta, and there are mosquitoes hitting the window that are like big as like horses like almost. I mean, literally, we had to get a squeegee out and squeegee the window of all the bug guts on there so we could see the ball game. So, but
and they're like, "This is just a normal Friday night."
And then everybody's looking at me like, "You okay?" I was like, "I can't see nothing." I was like, "Oh, we're used to it."
Yeah, this is our life here.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting trips out there on the roads of Mississippi. So,
yeah, agreed. Okay, so we want to kind of take it up to. Old college football.
Yeah, a lot of big games this week. There you see the schedule, and Mississippi State is the talk of the town right now after their big win against Arizona State. They're going to play Alcorn, and I think a lot of people assume this is going to be a kind of is what it is type ball game, but you still got to line up and play. But that'll be a 5:00 game in Starkville on Saturday night. Mississippi State did get the fine from the SEC for storming the field, a $500,000 fine for storming the field.
That's a drop in the bucket.
But you know what?
That's how much I paid in tuition. Right?
A lot of people were asking me about the storming of the field, and I said, you know what? Through all that school has been through, with losing their head football coach, and Mike Leach, he passed away.
Yeah.
From coming back from that and going through the misery they've been through the last 2 or 3 years trying to find their footing,
like
that felt like a weight that was lifted off the fan base's shoulders, and you just saw the jubilation. So you can't fault them for that. And like I said, the fans don't have to write the check. It's the school that's got to write the check.
Actually, Rob, it's me. I'll be writing my monthly check that I owe them.
Yes.
So I'll be paying that fine.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
It's on me, guys.
No wonder my MSU check didn't have that much money in anymore. So, but anyway, that'll be a big game tomorrow for State as they look to go to 3-0. And I told someone the other day, State has a lot more big home games this year. I'd said this earlier this week. If they get to 6 wins, they're bowl eligible. I mean, Jeff Levy at State, I think he's SEC Coach of the Year. I know it's early, but he's definitely going to be a favorite if this trend continues. Now, a big one in Oxford tomorrow. Arkansas and Ole Miss. Ole Miss went on the road to Kentucky last week and were able to escape with a win. Did just enough to beat Kentucky. Arkansas, they've been rolling pretty well offensively. When these two play, all bets are off, so it should be a good one there tomorrow afternoon. They're in, actually Saturday. I'm a couple of days behind here. But, Saturday, Ole Miss and Arkansas. And then you got App State and Southern Miss. Southern Miss got their first win under Charles Huff this past week against Jackson State. App State. And then we got to talk about the Tide.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
73-0 is what they beat at UL Monroe last week. And I know our producers are big fans of Alabama over here. Oh, I'm getting the stink eye.
Several people in the building,
Yeah, they play Wisconsin. It's an early kickoff in Tuscaloosa, 11 o'clock cash. And Alabama, they looked the part against UL Monroe. I mean, sure, but we'll see.
Well, it's a stark difference from 2 weeks ago, right? I mean,
different opponents too. So,
true,
but
I
mean, we'll see. Wisconsin is not the Wisconsin they used to be, so I don't think Alabama will have any problems here. Now,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, the Badgers. Now, next week.
That makes me want a cheese curd real bad.
Cheese curd, yeah, it does sound good. Lunch is not too far from now.
I want some Culverts.
But next week, Alabama has the bye week. They're off, and then they go to Georgia. That's when we're going to find out where Alabama is at after these 2 weeks. But speaking of Georgia, they got Tennessee on Saturday. That's one of the big SEC games there between Georgia and Tennessee, and that one's going to be very, very interesting indeed. And actually, Florida's playing LSU. Yeah, Florida's playing LSU this week. The Gators taking on the LSU Tigers, and then Notre Dame and Texas A&M round out the college schedule this week. So there you go.
Looking pretty good. Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be fairly entertaining. I mean, you've got a lot of big teams matching up. So
yeah, the Florida game against LSU is interesting because Florida, of course, they lost to South Florida, an unranked team this past week. So Billy Napier is getting a lot of grief. Fire Napier, fire Napier. Yeah. So now he gets to go to LSU. Good luck.
Yeah.
Under the lights in Death Valley.
So which game are you looking at?
Probably that one, because something about going to LSU is always a tough assignment at night. And if Florida gets blown out, as I always say, when you hear them talking about coaches being on the hot seat, I think the Barbarians will be at the gate on Billy Napier if they are to get blown out in this one.
I find that fascinating, that losses, and then when you see like a fan base turn on the coach,
sure. Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's all the coach's fault.
Yeah.
It's always coach's fault.
I've seen it happen time and time
but that's probably the big game of the week. That Georgia-Tennessee game, probably right behind it, and, of course, our in-state teams as well. But, so the schedule is picking up. The A&M Notre Dame game, that's kind of my unknown game. It's a flashy game on paper, but we'll see. They got to go to Notre Dame, so I guess that's kind of the highlight there of the schedule there. That game will be over on NBC and Peacock. Because Notre Dame has to have their own TV deal. That's how special they are.
Right.
So.
Okay, so let's take it to the NFL. We've got week 2 highlights.
Yeah, week 2. Got a game tonight.
Okay.
Commanders and Packers in Lambeau, and that's going to be over on Amazon Prime for you streamers out there. And both these teams are undefeated, and Packers had a big win against Detroit. Commanders coming off a win as well. Jaden Daniels with the Commanders, probably one of the probably top 5 quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the NFL. You got Jordan Love with the Packers, so pretty good matchup there for tonight on Amazon Prime. There you see the Saints and the 49ers. Of course, the Saints lost to the Cards while the 49ers won in week 1. And then we always got to put the Cowboys on there. I know it's like, here's the Cowboys. They're back. Yeah. But they'll be taking on the Giants, and that'll be the first game in Big D since the Micah Parsons trade. And if Dallas is to lose this one, the fan base is going to turn in a hurry. But and then, of course, I know we're going to skip over this one game and go to the bottom here with the Falcons and Vikings. That will be the Sunday night game. Of course, Minnesota had a comeback win on Monday night against the Bears. Falcons had a heartbreaker on a missed field goal at the end. But there you have a Super Bowl rematch. I want to go back to this one.
Yep.
Eagles and the Chiefs. This is a rematch from the big game last year where the Eagles just kind of blew away Kansas City. Yeah. And it's going to be in KC, so you know who's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You know who's going to be there. So, but that's going to be probably your big NFL game of the week. That's going to be
She who must not be named.
She should not be
named. She who must not be named.
But yeah, that'll be the late afternoon window game over on Fox. And, that's going to be the one that's going to get all the attention. So those are just a handful of the NFL games to kind of watch this week. So.
Okay, awesome. And I was going to tell you, when I was a kid, I would play sports games, and I would always pick the Green Bay Packers for some reason.
Packers?
As my avatar. Yeah, for some reason. No idea why. None of my family liked them.
That is an interesting choice. Something about that, the green and gold, I guess, of the
maybe it was
that mustard yellow. May have been Favre. I don't know.
Maybe I subconsciously knew there was a Mississippi connection.
There was a Mississippi connection. I knew deep down Brett was from Mississippi on the coast. So
as a 6-year-old,
there it is.
Okay, so what are your kind of predictions, hot takes, or anything like that you've got kind of going on this week? Whether it's JUCO, whether it's NFL, whether it's college, whether it's high school. I know we've kind of touched on some of the games you're watching.
Yeah. far as college goes, I think as far as predictions go, I think LSU is going to handle Florida pretty well. I think, and that's going to be.
You want those fans to turn.
Well, it's not necessarily that. I thought it was a bad hire from the beginning with Billy Napier, and it's turned out to be a bad hire. When you lose to a South Florida team, you shouldn't be losing to at your place. And there was a lot of discipline problems in that game. They had to toss one of the Florida players out for spitting on somebody, like they did in the Dallas game last Thursday. When you have that kind of stuff,
right,
you're kind of losing control of your program.
I think
a little
that kind of comes from the top down. Like,
I
that's
think
a
so.
discipline issue.
It trickles down from the top to the bottom. So I think LSU is going to handle that one. Southern Miss, that's one I'm keeping my eye on with App State. If Southern can pull this off, which they are more than capable of doing, I think they may turn that thing around a little quicker than we thought in Hattiesburg. And, of course, I want to circle back to Ole Miss. Arkansas scored a lot of points early, but Ole Miss, I think they got that scare into them at Kentucky. I think they rebound and win by a couple of touchdowns in that one. I don't think State will have any problems with Alcorn, but NFL stuff, that Chiefs-Eagles game, man, that's going to be a good one. It's tough to beat Patrick Mahomes at home. I'm probably going to give my tip of the cap to the Chiefs right there just because of that.
Well, they have something to fight for, too. I mean, they have, like, revenge.
Oh, exactly. When you get blown out on the biggest stage in sports, you're going to have a lot of revenge on your mind. So, and as far as
were they going for 2 Super Bowls or was it 3?
3 in a row.
3. So they were going for a 3.
And Philly derailed that. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's going to be. It's tough to pick against the Chiefs. I got to go with them at home. And as far as high school football goes, that matchup out at Southeast tonight. Southeast, they're winless. I know they are trying to get over that hump. Northeast, coming off a bye week. That's a tough one to call right there. That's almost flipping the quarter on that one. But
that takes me back to my high school days of the county school rivalry.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, but it's going to be a fun week, and I really encourage everyone. I know it's been a difficult, week, and of course, remembering 9/11. Just go out to some of these games and get some, just some escapism. Yeah. And support something that is pure and wonderful, and that's high school football.
And like we said earlier, like nothing really brings the community together more than sports, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one of the biggest things that kind of unites all of us and divides us in a safe way.
Supposed to.
opposing teams, But I do want to say, like, if you're out at the game tonight and you want to send us a picture or you want to send us a picture of the scoreboard or just want to give us information on kind of what's happening, feel free to DM us on Queen City Newsfeed Facebook page. Feel free to drop something in the comments of this post. And as always, Rob, we're going to be working to get that Queen City Newsfeed football feed scoreboard up and posted as soon as we can. So typically what I do is I just gather all of the scores late at night. You got some games you kind of have to wait on people to post.
Sure.
So it does come in around midnight. It can kind of bleed into Saturday morning sometimes.
Right.
So, but we try to get that information up as soon as possible. When you see the scoreboard, if there's a team on there that we don't have, or if there's something that, information we're missing, feel free to comment that and we'll pin it at the top.
I did want to throw out a big congratulations real quick, kind of going off the subject of football, to the Lamar cheer and dance team. State championships yesterday for them at the MAI Spirit competition. So, Lamar's near and dear to my heart. So I just want to say congratulations to the young ladies. They work so hard for that. They won in a lot of categories yesterday, and they brought home some hardware. So great job out there by the coaching staff, Coach Lauren Beach with cheer, and, of course, Gracie Terry with dance. So they did a great job yesterday.
And I will say we predicted that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
We said they would come home with something.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely going to happen. But yeah, they won in a lot of great categories yesterday. But just wanted to give them a big shout out and congratulations to them. Also, to all the other cheer and dance teams, wish you the best in your performances at halftime this week. Band as well.
Yes.
Nothing like that atmosphere. Yeah, everybody that's involved in these games, it's nothing like a good atmosphere at a football game.
I know a lot of times, too, we have first responders that work these games and are there. I just want to let everybody know there is a first responder luncheon today at Webb and Stevens Funeral Home downtown. That is free for you. It's for all Meridian first responders. And I'm sure they'll take some area first responders, too, if you just happen to be in the area.
That's right.
And, of course, the 9/11 stair climb.
That's right.
Tonight at the downtown parking garage. And like you mentioned, I'm sure there will be some schools that do some tributes and things
Absolutely.
like that. So we definitely want to keep that in our mind, in the back of our mind at all times, and just remember what today is and the importance of today. And definitely our thoughts and prayers are with everyone that's affected by this, you know, whether you're directly affected or whether it was, you know, kind of just something that you grew up remembering happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking about that a second ago. 24 years, all the kids that are in high school and college now were not around when that happened.
I know. I talk to people sometimes and this comes up and they're like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't born then." And I'm like, "Wait a second. How are you
I know.
an adult?"
I know. It's just like, guess what? That's a clear sign you're getting older.
Oh, I know. I remember being in the classroom when it happened. You know, I remember being like,
I was working
kindergarten or
part time
something.
here in this building at the time, going to school at the same time, and of course we were just all glued to TVs, you know, trying to get information out and whatnot. But yeah, it just seems like yesterday. It's like every little detail you can remember about the day. You know, of course, reading the names and stuff like that they're doing this morning. But yeah, as I always tell folks on our broadcast, you know, love on your family a little extra in times like this. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you guys for joining us. We do want to give a final shout out to our sponsor, All-Star Team Sports in Meridian. They do a great job over there with all custom apparel. You can go check them out. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. We're going to have this posted up on all of our platforms, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.
Absolutely.